FlareNetworks caused massive excitement in the XRP community when it announced its intention to bring smart contracts to the currency. Their snapshot event, ready for the later airdrop, sent the XRP price to the moon back in December. Are people right to be excited? Well, let's take a look and find out. Hi everyone, this is Greg here from Personal Evolution. So today we're taking a look at the crypto project FlareNetwork and its Spark token FLR. We'll cover what it is, how it works, and what could happen in the long run with the Spark token. We're going to take our framework from the fundamental analysis of crypto videos. The link will be below. As I said before, there are a number of things to consider when looking at token fundamentals: product, use case, market, traction team, funding, and price into the future. So let's put our VC hats on and take a look at FlareNetwork and its Spark token. So, FlareNetwork. How do we analyze it? We're going to be using our economic flywheel for crypto, which I have adapted from A16Z's very informative video. I'll link below there if you want more information about it. So what this is basically showing is how cryptos drive better token price. And it is a flywheel, so the faster this spins, the better stuff happens. So we start at the beginning with the founders who input the work to create the protocol. They then attract investors who fund it at a certain token price, which drives up the price. This attracts miners and validators to bring production capital to the network, improving the platform functionality. That then attracts third-party developers who bring human capital, who add more useful applications, which gives the network more utility, allowing more users to enter, forming a community. And the whole thing repeats, and as I said before, drives faster and faster. We tend to start with the protocol and then work our way around, and that is what we will be doing today. So, what does Flare actually do? So, Flare's main thesis is based on the fact that 75% of value in crypto is locked up in non-Turing complete protocols. What that means is stuff like XRP doesn't contain smart contract functionality. What Flare allows us to do in this beautiful diagram that's here is add XRP as a representation, an F asset, that then translates into the Flare network, which can be then used for smart contracts. Just to say here straight away, it doesn't necessarily have to be XRP. Already Flare have announced connections into Litecoin, XLM, Stellar, and Dogecoin will be coming soon. Flare has its own tokens, the Spark token. And just a note here, if you didn't watch my other video, to add an F asset to the Flare network, you have to put up collateral in the order of 2.5 times the amount of the token that you want to bring into the network. Just a little note there. So in terms of tokenomics, I've already mentioned collateral, but Spark is used in three ways. The collateral for bringing new F tokens into the system, or F assets even. The FTSO, the Flare Time Series Oracle, which provides data to the Flare network on how much the price is of its tokens. So where FXRP, for instance, you want to get the accurate data from the XRP ledger, something needs to pull that in because it's an external network. And finally, governance. And that's to influence how the network develops. In terms of our business model analysis, in the white paper the other day, I covered off these network effects that Flare themselves call out. And I just thought it'd be useful to map these to our model so we know what we're talking about. So the first one they call out, access to assets and ecosystems that were not previously available through the trustless representation of non-Turing complete assets, as exemplified by FXRP. So for this one, this goes into our more users bucket. So say they bring Litecoin to the ecosystem, we'd imagine that a lot of Litecoin users would be interested in that. Not just users, but developers, because they can now build applications using smart contracts using Litecoin. And that all adds to platform functionality. The second one, the value of Spark as a collateral usage medium. That's a useful application because, as I said in the previous slide, that brings new tokens to the platform. And the use of Spark will create better token price, because if they're locked up in collateral, it means the supply goes down, price goes up. The use of Flare Time Series Oracle, that brings more users to the ecosystem because they get rewarded for that action, and adds platform functionality because we need accurate data. in order to make this whole system work. The depth and interest and expertise that could be brought to bear over governance questions, I think this just makes it more simple for users and developers to get their heads around how to govern their community. And it adds to the protocol because the Spark governance, the Spark tokens enable users to vote on the governance of the protocol and stuff like that. And finally, the increased likelihood of attention for new applications from the Spark owning a community against the attention that an application would have through bootstrapping from zero. So when you build a new application, there's something called the cold start problem, which means no one else is there to make it useful. And so you can kind of shortcut that if you build on the Flare network because there's already an active community, or that's the idea. So without further ado, here is our Flare network business model analysis. So in terms of the protocol, we've got a Turing complete federated Byzantine agreement protocol, which is more secure than proof of stake. That brings smart contracts to non-Turing complete cryptos, as I said. That accounts for roughly 75% of the value held in crypto. So stuff like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, that sort of. In terms of investors, RippleX, Ripple's CVC, corporate venture capitalist, raised an undisclosed seed round for these guys. And it's not yet launched, but there is pre-market trading on Bitrue. And I've just got a screenshot there of the Bitrue price. It's currently priced in at 1.95, although we haven't had the main airdrop yet, so anything could happen when people actually get their hands on the tokens. What I will say there, as a small caveat, the guys at Flare have thought about that, and they're only releasing 15% of the full amount to start to each person, so there isn't like this massive sell-off, but it's quite a complicated thing. So moving on to miners and validators, this is where the Flare time series oracle comes in. So because the federated Byzantine agreement consensus mechanism doesn't require staking or mining, it relies on something called quorum. There's no need for Flare's users to get involved in anything like that. So users provide data to the Flare time series oracle. This is represented by this big brain. Now these can be FXRP holders or Flare token, Spark tokens themselves holders, and they will give the FTSO a price. And that translates then into an FLR to XRP price. Holders are able to delegate, and this is what this second one is showing. So you can pool your resources into signal providers. So maybe that's one person does this one, 3 people go for this one, and then a whole group of people do this. And in return, they are rewarded. So you're probably thinking, okay, so what happens if Jim here provides a bad price because we're relying on the wisdom of the crowd? Well, if someone adds a bad price, what will happen is that there will be an outlier compared to the rest of the market. And I'll show you what that looks like. So when we get a bad price, say someone puts like 1 million XRP equals 1 Flare or something, well, that will be right at the end of this scale. And what Flare are hoping for is that everyone behaves in kind of a trusted way. So what they will do, they will truncate the end whisker and the other whisker and just take what's between Q1 and Q3 on here. If people keep putting bad prices in, they will never get rewarded, and therefore they will lose out on all the returns that the people in the middle range are. So I hope that's a clear explanation. It's slightly complicated, but if you want to learn more, I'll leave links in the description below about that process. Yeah, that's our miners and validators. It's done via voting on the Flare time series oracle data, truncated, so anomalies are removed, and you're able to delegate. So if you don't want to provide data, you can give your Spark token to someone else who will provide it for you, which I thought was quite interesting. Developer interest. This is quite hard to gauge at the moment, but I thought I'd call out 3 different things. So first of all, the cost on 2 testnet was launched recently, end of March this year, which allows people to interact with the Flare network and test out different applications. 2 notable ones, you can see this big diagram on the right. Flare Finance, which, I mean, it's just huge. And I don't know if they've got a shed load of money or something coming in from someone or something. I really couldn't find out anything pretty much about the team, apart from a few Medium posts. But they're promising to bring farming, loans, insurance, yield mining, and wrapping to the ecosystem. The scope of that is incredible. If these guys actually pull this off, which I'm questioning because I couldn't find too much about it, but they could be completely legit. I personally couldn't find anything in my research. Yeah, that's going to be huge. The other one worth calling out was Trustline.co, which calls for Buzz, which is a secure P2P credit network. The idea is you deposit Spark and XRP into a vault, and then it allows you to use an app like a credit card or a high yield savings account. So those were the two ones that I picked out. There may be more dApps on its way. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's a huge amount of developer interest yet. We are pre-launch of the network, and hopefully that will change as they add more F assets like Litecoin, Doge, XRP, XLM sort of things. Really excited to see how this takes off when it's launched. So yeah, no working applications yet. Already some great ecosystems connected. As I said before, XRP, I believe XLM as well. Litecoin integration ready on launch, Doge to follow. And they've also critically set up a foundation to invest into other projects. So maybe that's where Flare Finance will get its money from. But I'll leave a link in the description below so you can do your own research on these things. So usage. As we're pre-launched, what usage we're going to get. So I thought I'd look at the claimed stats from the Spark snapshot. What this was for XRP holders, as it was the first asset to the Flare network, they said we're going to give every XRP holder a one-to-one swap to Spark. So if you have XRP in a certain wallet, you can get Spark tokens. So if you held it on Coinbase, Binance, and BitThumb, you would have got this automatically. And yeah, you can see the stats here. So I suppose in terms of users, 110,000 people took part. I don't know when this infographic was made. And yeah, 23.5 billion XRP were claimed on. So yeah, a great result really for the Flare network. And if you wanted to look in more, I can leave links to this below. I don't think there's anything more to say than, well, we've got 110,000 users sitting there ready to go. So yeah, in terms of usage, again, as it's not launched, it's hard to say. 110k users at least at launch, mostly from the XRP community. With this limited functionality, we're hoping that Flare Finance or Trustline will be ready to go when it launches, but I couldn't really find out too much more. It looks like that's what everyone's aiming for. In terms of followings of the other guys, they have much smaller followings. I think the main bulk of users will come from the XRP community, and hopefully more people have claimed that since the infographic was made. And yeah, so finally, coming on to the team, the founders. Sorry about the massive pictures, guys. But yeah, Hugo Filion, co-founder, CEO, previously founder of Modular Building System, which I couldn't find out too much about from future generations. But the main bulk of his work seems to be commodity derivatives, a hedge fund. So yeah, high finance guy, probably why they started with DeFi. He went, after he got bored of hedge funding, he went back to school and met Sean doing machine learning, I believe at UCL. I'll have to check that. But yeah, so Sean's there involved in the blockchain space since 2015 when he designed secure vehicular communication protocols, which actually got featured on the cover of Times magazine. So yeah, done quite well there. And Dr. Nari Osha, I hope I've said your name right. She's the chief scientist at Flare. So that's the team. In addition, we have 2 experienced developers with the help from Toho Labs, which is another Ripple X investment. And yeah, this is our complete kind of analysis. In summary, let's look at each one in turn. So the protocol, 9 out of 10, I think for me, unlocks massive value in non-Turing complete cryptos. Yeah, very, very cool stuff, really. Tokenomics, well thought out, but issues in early days due to massive amounts being given out. Again, this time, it's a sort of time will tell thing with this one, because we don't know if everyone will just dump the stuff they get in their airdrop, even if it's only 15% of the total. Yeah, we just don't know. But I think the team has thought it out as much as possible. The only other thing I would say on tokenomics is I didn't see anything about deflationary stuff like burning, which tends to drive the price higher. But that may be a conscious decision that I just haven't seen too much about. In terms of dev interest, again, it's so early, but there are a couple of promising looking applications, but I couldn't find out too much about them. Same for usage, simply too early to tell. Team, the investors and advisors will be key to prop up the team, I think, here, because they have some great investors in Ripple X. Those guys are really great. We've worked with them before, and I think they will really help there, and they have some good advisors on board. I'll take a look at their team page to see more. Why they didn't score higher here was, I guess there's not much kind of business experience in the team, but you got Hugo from the high finance background and stuff, and I think they'll be able to fill that in relatively easily. So that was why I knocked that down a bit. And hype, it was very high at the snapshot, less so now, but I think the XRP community is still really closely following it. So that was a half really for me. Overall score, 5.5 out of 10. It's low. In the long term, I'm very interested. I personally will want to wait and see because it's still way too early to understand whether the usage is there, whether they're onto a real winner, whether the devs are pouring in because they love working with Litecoin, Doge, all those other stuff. You just don't know. And you got heavy competition from Cardano, Polkadot, those sorts of guys that are kind of killing it at the moment. And it'll be interesting to see how these guys compete. If you're going to get some on the airdrop and you don't mind hodling for 3+ years, I'd suggest, go for that plan if that's what you want to execute. Because I think after that initial period when the airdrop tokens have all run out and stuff and they've gone through the 15% plus, I think it's 2 or 4% a month they're planning to give away on top of that. So that's when we're really going to get the truest price, when a lot more of the tokens are on the market. But yeah, that was my thoughts. I don't think there's anything more. Nope. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that analysis. If you could, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, because it takes a long old time to put these together. I hope you have a good rest of the day and weekend. And yeah, stay safe.